As of October, Barca's start to the season has actually been pretty good, but who knows how this will turn out in the end. Will we continue to impress, or will we crash and burn and disappoint? Today, let's talk about that, because what am I going to talk about? The China national team? Next week, guys, next week. Last time I talked about Barcelona, we had just sacked Xavi because Laporta can't take a hit to his ego.
Patrick, you're fired. But I don't even work here. Would you like a job starting now? Why would I? You're fired.
Despite the Xavi is leaving steam running out and our performances dipping the last few matches, Barcelona would finish second in the league. Xavi would be replaced by Hansi Flick, and going into the summer, there were plenty of transfer questions to be answered. So, let's go over them. One of the most criticized players last season was Robert Lewandowski. The Polish captain had his worst goal-scoring season since 2014-15. He had also become weirdly unreliable at penalties. He got a new run-up that tended to miss the first attempt while catching the keeper off his line, then scoring on the second try. Though he was still a quality striker, it seemed as if age was finally catching up to him. The main alternative was Vitor Roque, who hit the ground running when he first arrived in January. After that, the Brazilian wonderkid would barely get any minutes, as Xavi seemed to never trust his abilities. In fact, it came out that Xavi had never actually asked for Roque. Marquinhos would have been the other option, but he joined Chelsea, so yeah. Barca felt the departure of Busquets big time. I don't know if anyone else noticed it last season, but Barca's tempo felt a lot slower than usual. The players were more hesitant in their passing play, and sometimes they just looked like they didn't know what to do. All this from lacking a reliable anchor. Deco's solution was to bring in Oriol Romeu from Girona, but he's been a walking disaster. Near the end of the season, the DM position would be filled in by Sergio Roberto, Gundogan, and sometimes even Christensen. But in the present day, the former two are gone and the latter was played out of position, even if he did do a pretty good job. So a reliable six was one of our immediate concerns. Yamal exploded onto the scene last season, but our left flank was still a huge concern. Joao Felix was gone, Ferran Torres, while our immediate solution was Rafinha. He actually found some pretty good form playing on the left, but we had few rotation options in case of injury. There were also concerns in defense. Inigo Martinez was bang average, not starter quality, but as a bench option he works well enough. Araujo was dodging contract offers while getting injured in Copa America. Koundé had been shifted to right back, while 17-year-old Pau Cubarsí was somehow one of our best defenders last season. As you can see, there are many problems to address, but I'm sure Barcelona will use their plentiful budget to solve all of them. Well, even with only 40 million in our summer budget, surely we can buy some cheaper players to bolster our squad. After the Euros, it looked like our transfer of the season would be one of Dani Olmo or Nico Williams. Personally, I would have preferred Nico Williams. I did detail why left wing is one of our biggest problems, and going after an injury-prone Dani Olmo when our attacking midfield depth is pretty much the least of our concerns, it didn't make sense to me, especially not with our limited budget. So Deco decided to go after Olmo instead of Williams. Don't get me wrong, Olmo is a quality player, but I literally just explained why Williams should have been prioritized. So now we've spent our entire budget on Olmo, but at least we've got a player we can use. It just had to happen again, huh? So the transfer fee was one thing, but Olmo's wages proved to be a registration problem. Not this again. Well, that means we'll just have to cut costs and get rid of some players to make room on the wage bill, so let's go over some potential sales. Ferran Torres. For how much he cost in terms of wages and transfer fees, he isn't contributing nearly enough to this team. Plus, we have Lamine on the right and Rafinha on the left, not to mention Ferran never seems to work as a winger or a striker. My patience was quickly running out on his hot and cold nature, so it seemed like the right time to cash in. Other possible sales included Oriol Romeu, who was really not great at DM. Marcos Alonso and Sergio Roberto were both leaving for free, while Vitor Roque was almost certainly going to leave on loan. There's also Eric Garcia. Watching him defend gives me about 20 heart attacks per game. So tell me, Deco, who's being sold? Why? Tell me something. Why are we selling Gundogan? He was one of our best players last season, and our most experienced midfielder. Why are we letting him go? As if most of our transfers being underwhelming wasn't enough, now we're getting rid of one of our best performing players. Tell me something, right? In what world does Ferran Torres stay, but Gundogan leaves? What's next? We give him away for free? For free? He left for free? Why? If you're letting Gundogan go, at least demand a fee for him. I think City were willing to pay as well. Why are we so bad at negotiating these deals? He was great last season. City would be willing to dish out some cash for him. Why for free? Oh, and the worst part? This still wasn't enough to register Olmo. Now, look, if that isn't indicative of this club's short-sighted planning, then I don't know what is. Later on, Christensen would be injured, allowing Olmo to be registered on a temporary basis. Phew. Disaster avoided. For now. But with that out of the way, we can safely say our transfer window is over. What? Why were we linked with Kimmich? Insanely expensive, can't displace Koundé at right back, not the right kind of defensive midfielder we're looking for. Where would he fit in exactly? I get that he's worked with Hansi before, but still, we barely got Olmo registered, and we're looking for more players? Okay, seriously, I love Bernardo, but where would he fit? The only thing I can see him doing is being a rotation option with Yamal, and even then, it's nowhere near worth his wages. We don't need more attacking midfielders. Oh, finally, one that makes at least a shred of sense. A defensive midfielder. Unfortunately, we spent all our wages on Olmo, and this loan deal failed miserably. I feel like you should know that, Deco. You've got to be kidding me. Listen to me, Bin Deco. We barely afforded Olmo. With our finances, we only got Olmo registered on a temporary basis, and here you are, shopping for player after player after player after player, as if we're Chelsea. It's this kind of careless spending that destroyed our club's economic plans in the first place. I can't take this anymore. I want Deco out. So, to summarize our departures, Gundogan, Sergio Roberto, Dest, and Marcos Alonso all left for free. Faye, Julian Araujo, Riyad, Guiu, and Pedrola all left permanently. Finally, we have Roque, Valle, Romeu, and Longley all leaving on loan. This all culminated in us getting Olmo and Pau Victor instead of, a defensive midfielder, but who knows, we got La Masia. Maybe Casado and Bernal can bail us out. So, with transfers out of the way, how did our preseason go? We would secure a 2-2 draw against Man City, where we held the lead twice, but City equalized twice, and in the end, Barca won on penalties. And I'm cautiously optimistic. We were mostly playing our backup team against a lot of City starters, albeit they were playing with Calvin Phillips at center back, so... Our next match was El Clasico, and new signing Pau Victor stepped up as, once again, a mostly La Masia 11 beat Real Madrid, though Real were also using quite a few backup players, so we don't want to make too much of those results. Then there was Milan, where the Blaugrana would come back from 2-0 down thanks to a Lewandowski brace, but lost on penalties anyways. So, all in all, not bad for a preseason performance. The team was putting up good fights against pretty tough challenges, and it gives me hope for the upcoming season. So, what's next? Well, it was only a matter of time before we talked about this. Yes, that's right. We lost the Joan Gamper Trophy by the largest margin in our history. We lost in a preseason competition we created. Yes, I know, it's only preseason, but we outshot Monaco despite not scoring a single time. Monaco took their chances, we didn't. Not to mention a bunch of silly defensive errors. Onto the actual season now, and how have we been doing in the league? Well, actually really well, considering that at the time of writing we're top of La Liga and in convincing fashion so far with a +16 goal difference. We started our league campaign with 3 wins in a row by the same scoreline, 2-1. Then we would dominate Real Valladolid with Rafinha scoring a hat-trick as well as getting revenge on Girona. So yeah, our league form has been pretty good. I can't wait to see us carry that to the UCL. Of course. Why is it that in recent years we do really well in the league, but the minute we step into an European competition, we just have to make silly mistakes? If it isn't Alba against Liverpool, it's PK against Inter, Araujo against PSG, and now this. Tell me why. Someone explain this to me. And because we were down to 10 men, Monaco would take the lead not long after. But we respond as Yamal equalizes 12 minutes later. Starboy, his first goal in the Champions League. All we have to do now is hold down the fort. I can already imagine the Ter statue memes. Listen, as much as I love Ter Stegen, he was at fault here. Caused the red card, which was the whole reason we lost because Monaco were dominating us. But as a side note, even though I agree Ter Stegen is to blame for us losing to Monaco, I'm disgusted by how quickly our fans turned on him. Deluded claims of he was never good and Inaki Peña should start. First of all, Ter Stegen was a huge part of our UCL and league runs since arriving in 2014. Sure, his recent goals conceded numbers don't exactly flatter him, but has anyone ever considered the defense he was working with? A declining Piqué, disastrous Longley, unreliable Garcia, and constantly injured Umtiti. With that backline in front of him, what do you expect the man to do? And second of all, Inaki Peña starting, did you not see him last season? That man was so shaky in front of goal and inspired no confidence. I couldn't wait for Ter Stegen to return. Anyways, with a disappointing start to the Champions League behind us, Barcelona would refocus their efforts on the league against Villarreal. And once again, Barcelona would run riots, putting 5 past the Yellow Submarine, although Ter Stegen did get injured and would be out for most of the season. We went on to secure a 1-0 win against Getafe, where everyone besides Lewandowski forgot how to finish, and our next challenge would be Osasuna. But with how congested our schedule was, Hansi would elect to use a lot of our younger players over the usual starters, and it didn't take long for us to discover a La Masia 11 would still be very shaky. Oh, and then Inaki Peña made things worse. This is the guy people said should start over Ter Stegen. Football fans can be quite delusional sometimes. Into the second half, Pau Victor would pull one back for the Coolers, and with the Blaugrana applying more pressure, we would surely make a comeback. Guys, please don't do this. I thought that I'd been hurt before, but no one's ever left me quite the sore. Your saves cut deeper than a knife. Now I need someone to breathe me back to life. Barcelona would get another goal thanks to Yamal, but it was far too late, and we'd get our first league loss of the season. With our goalkeeping issues more obvious than ever, we would explore our options in the free agent market. First was Claudio Bravo, who offered to come out of retirement for Barcelona because he loved the club unconditionally. Nothing to see there. Then there was Keylor Navas, the former Real keeper who still hadn't found a club since leaving Paris. And honestly, I was kinda hoping we'd get him, if for no other reason than to troll my Madridista roommates. Finally, we would settle on bringing Wojciech Szczesny out of retirement. Since that Osasuna loss, Barca have bounced back and achieved a 5-0 win over Young Boys in the Champions League. So, now that we're caught up, let's go over some recent performances. It's not surprising to me, but under Flick's guidance, Lewandowski is back to his best. Rafinha has also earned my admiration since about halfway through last season, but this time he's really stepped up and been an insane contributor to our attack. Casado and Bernal have also been unexpectedly good as our defensive midfielders, considering how much experience that position demands. Sucks that Bernal got injured, and I hope he comes back stronger. Meanwhile, Pedri has done surprisingly well as a pivot for Barca, and Koundé has been huge at right back. There's also Olmo, who did really well at attacking midfield until he got injured. Yamal is lethal as always, Inigo Martinez seems way better than last season, Kubarsi is somehow still our most consistent defender, and Balde is finally back. Frankie de Jong has also returned, while Gavi and Fermin Lopez will follow suit before long. I feel blessed. Of course, not all is well because there still have been some less than stellar performances. Namely Ferran Torres. My guy is still downright useless and can't seem to thrive anywhere on the pitch. Listen, I want to give him a chance, but that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years, and he still isn't improving. I'm banking on us selling him in the winter because I really can't see this changing anytime soon. So how will we do this season? Well, I'm hopeful, but I'm also trying to control my expectations. Keep in mind, Barca's depth still isn't that great, and doesn't seem built for a challenge on all fronts. But with this season containing the club's 125th anniversary, it would truly be special to win some silverware. But what do you think? Will Barca re-establish their winning reputation this season? Let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, like and subscribe, follow my Twitter, yada yada yada, and I'll see you next time. Take care.